a very special guest amongst us. All right. Let's go and transition to our next segment. The Circle of Trust explores connections that content creators have with their audiences and with the brands and products they're associated with. What is the nature of influence? What does it allow you to do? And what does it attract from those that have it? How do you end up in staying authentic and yet have boundaries about what is personal? Where's the audience in all of this? We look at the journey of someone with remarkable influence and experience. With a career traversing Bollywood, music, and comedy, somebody who has an experience of a lifetime in the entertainment industry under his belt, but of course, a lot more years to go. Bollywood portfolio includes acclaimed films like Badmaash Company, Go Goa Gone, Delhi Belly. Today is ranked amongst the highest grossing English comedian in the country. Comedy pedigree speaks for itself. With a career spanning over 100+ comedy shows, I would say easily 1,000 rather, along with the distinction of being one of the top 10 comics in Variety magazine's 10 comedians to watch list. An avant-garde approach to the art coupled with enamoring presence on stage, somebody who's culminated into the success of multiple worldwide tours, steely wit, refined humor, and an unwavering dedication to the art, which is what is best in comedy has to offer. And that, for all of you and everyone present here, we're calling upon none other than Veer Das. It doesn't get better! Come on, everyone! Veer Das on the house!
It's the longest introduction in the world, no? Even the teleprompter guy was like, screw this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
But I hope you were okay with that. And putting him in the hot seat, a seasoned journalist and media expert, somebody who is an independent journalist, known for creating and anchoring a diverse body of work on channels like CNBC TV 18, CNN News 18 in the past 2 decades. Let's give it a big, big round of applause, Ms. Sengupta. So Anuradha and Veer on the stage. Over to you, Ms. Sengupta, to take it forward.
Thank you for that introduction. It's lovely to see everybody here all pumped up.
Yes. Are you all influencers? You're
Not yet.
Normal people? Okay,
Not
cool.
yet.
Right, cool. Huh.
So I just realized when she was reading out the introduction for me that CNBC, CNN News 18, no chance.
So a little bit of context. I've known Anuradha for the better part of 17 years. I used to be on CNBC when I was 24 years old and do a show called News on the Loose, back when you could make fun of the Prime Minister on TV. And then now we don't do that anymore. But it's because we all moved on. That's why.
We all moved on.
Yes.
And so it's wonderful to see you here, all pumped up, waiting to hear this guy. And I know you've already applauded him. But I think the fact that Veer is in Mumbai, he's got a mic in his hand, deserves another round of applause. So go for it. I'm here because I think ASCI does a wonderful job in pushing the envelope when it comes to self-regulation, in widening it and deepening it and making people understand why as consumers we need to safeguard ourselves from marketing and brand communication. But I'm also here today to show love for an artist who, with his words, has definitely marketed and influenced people when it comes to brands. But more critically, what I think he has done is that really hard sell, the hardest sell of all, which is ideas. He has lovingly held up a mirror to us, our frailties, our shortcomings, and with great optimism shown us who we are and who we can be. He's also shown us our strengths and resilience, isn't it, Veer?
I mostly just tell the jokes and worry about my hair looking good, and the rest. No, I don't think you get to decide what you do. I think you get to decide what I do. You know, for me, it's, you know, if you get to see what I see when I stand on a stage 10 times a week, the view is pretty good. You know,
It's a full house.
not just a full house. There's nothing more pure than a person laughing.
Yeah.
There's no pretense to a person laughing. So if you ever get to look at 1,000 people laugh or 10 people laugh, you will be incredibly conscious of what a privilege that is. So then all you're really thinking about is the laugh. And if it achieves anything else, you let them point that out to you. And if it fails on something, you let them point that out to you. But you're just worried about making them smile.
Making them smile. What is influence? How would you define influence? You just referred to the fact that you started your career in comedy on CNBC, right? With a segment called News on the Loose,
Yes, ma'am.
which was reacting to business news of the day. Today, here you are. I think there were, at last count, 5 outings on Netflix. World tours. You're going to the US soon.
Yes.
Sold out shows here. A line of beer.
Yes, I have a beer. Yeah.
So what does influence mean? And how much has it changed your ability to influence from the time you started?
See, from the time I started, you know, when I started, and this is going to be like Bachcha Log, when I started, there used to be these things called ad agencies. I don't know if you remember them. I don't know if they exist anymore, but an ad agency used to come and shoot an ad, and there was an ad agency and a client and a copywriter and a director, and all 4 of them hated each other. And then you'd go on camera to shoot the ad, and you'd do something, and the director would talk to the copywriter, who would tell him that he hated it, and then the copywriter would talk to the client, and the client usually had one nephew or jija or son who wanted a selfie with you, and then he would become the copywriter, and the director would want to commit suicide halfway through the ad. And that's kind of how advertising worked until influencers showed up, and you guys now write your own scripts, provide your own confidence, do your own lighting, and are badass because you're everything combined in one, right? To me, influence is the increased ability to put yourself out there with security, that people
what do you
know
mean,
you.
security?
To me, the measure of a good artist is not, can I make you laugh, can I make you sing, can I make you dance, can I make you cry? Within 5 seconds of witnessing my art form, do you know me? And if you know me, that forms a relationship with a consumer or a content watcher. And I think influencers are people who only take the knowing of themselves and kind of commodify that in a very authentic manner. So they get to, I don't know if the audience knows who I am, or I don't know if the audience knows who Arjun Kapoor is, or if they know who Amir is, but they know who Shah Rukh Khan is. Because he's put himself out there in an authentic manner. And I think that's what influencers do. So to me, the ability to exist online with authenticity is influence.
Is there a difference between being a celebrity and an influencer?
Yes.
What is the difference?
I'm neither, so I don't know exactly. But
Humble much, this guy?
no, celebrity is, I think, like influencers, maybe they'll send you love and may or may not spend money on you, you know, but they'll definitely support you in your journey. Celebrity is, they will definitely spend lots and lots of money on you until you mess up, until you deliver a bad product, and then they may abandon you and discover that you're not worth their money. And I think that's the difference between the two of them. Is influencers, they're along for who you are, and celebrities, they're along for what you do.
Interesting. So, how do you see yourself?
Myself? I'm escapism. At my best, I'm escapism. I think you come to my show to watch me talk about my failings in such a big way that you feel better about yours. So, you know, I make such an ass of myself that you don't worry about being an ass in your real life. So, I'm a vacation. That's the way I look at it. When you walk into a Veer Das show, that's a vacation, you know.
you don't, how do you, when people say celebrity, when people describe you as an influencer, how do you react to those tags?
When
Are you
people-
comfortable with them?
When people say I'm an influencer, I usually say, how dare you? But
Why do you say how dare you? Because everyone here would love, man, I'd love to be called an influencer today.
But I've never influenced anybody to do anything. Nobody's bought a T-shirt because of me. Nobody's bought a product because of me.
They've all bought
Nobody's
tickets to your
bought
show because
underwear because of me. And celebrity, nobody's taken off their T-shirt because of me. Nobody's taken off their underwear because of me. You know, like, I used to do this joke where I'm like, women throw their underwear at like Arjun Rampal. You know what I mean? They're like, Arey Arjun, yeah. Women have thrown their underwear at me, but they always say, Veer, put that in the washing machine, please. And run it for 2 cycles. But I don't think...
That was an example of that phrase, humble brag?
No, I'm like a double-decker bus. If you see me on the street, you're like, yeah, I know what that is. I don't want to take a ride, but I know what it is, That's what I am. Yeah, janta hu, wo hai. He exists, but I'm not changing anybody's life. I'm not, and I think celebrities have the ability to do that, and influencers actively target and sometimes commodify the changing of your life.
So influencer or celebrity, which one would you pick if you could?
Dictator, yeah. No, it's kind of both, isn't it?
देखो influencer के world में journalism भूल गए ना लोग, लेकिन सवाल का जवाब तो चाहिए.
Listen, journalists are influencers right now. Let's be honest.
Of course we are. I was going to say we were.
I love how we're talking about journalism in the past tense. अभी बड़े उछल रहे हो ना closed room में. No, I'm an artist. I'm not a celebrity, I'm not an influencer, I'm an artist and I'm a fool. I'm happy.
So when the brands come to you, because in this context today especially, we do want to focus on the responsibility that comes with being able to put out communication on behalf of brands, right? When they come to you, what is it that they look for from you and what is it that you think you offer them?
I bring to the table an audience, fortunately or unfortunately, that can smell bullshit a mile away. So if I ever do an ad or a video where I'm like, hey guys, I'm so happy with this. Every comment is paisa, 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 hope it was, hope you earned, etc., etc. So a lot of brands that come to me are brands that are willing to make fun of themselves, that are willing to admit that we're doing this for the money, that are willing to admit that they wanted bigger celebrities but only got me, that are willing to take it on themselves. Like I just did an ad for Beardo. I endorsed Beardo. And the entire thing is taking on the industry of beard ads and men's product ads. So those are the kind of brands that come to me because they recognize that my audience will immediately reject bullshit. And I think that's not my audience specifically, but just 18 to 25-year-olds are a terrifying audience right now because they
call out bullshit.
They call out bullshit. They smell performative interviews. They smell, and they expect a celebrity or an influencer to put their ethos into everything that they do. Otherwise, it's not good enough for them.
But today you could say that, look, this is who I am. This is my authentic self, and I will not compromise it. But when you're starting out as an influencer, if a big brand came to me and said, we'll pay you, do you think people, is it easy then to be authentic and true to yourself?
If you're starting out, I would imagine not, because I also think, I have a saying about companies, the intern is always a nice guy and the chairman is always a nice person. That VP of sales, that guy, or the VP of marketing, that guy is always an asshole. And because he has to impress that guy and oppress that guy. And he usually writes the script and takes these creative calls. I would imagine both of those people would be okay with the influencer just doing them. But it's that one person with that job to justify that usually ends up being a problem. The only thing I would tell somebody young if they're getting into it is try and put yourself into it. Maybe the two pieces of advice were, if it's less money, but they allow you to do it, take less money and do it. And if they still don't let you, do two things. Split it up and say, I'll do one for you and do one for me. And 9 times out of 10, the one that you do authentically will perform and the brand will be happy anyway. You know?
How obsessed are you about the audience? Because with social media, you know exactly what your audience likes. They can comment, they can, you know, give you a thumbs up, they can give you a thumbs down. The algorithms then come into play, and you know the count. You know that on YouTube you have sub-million. On Twitter you have sub-10 million, right? On Insta you have another million, I guess. So my question is, do you keep count? Does that number become something that you obsess over?
No, I think, and it'll eat you alive if you do. Especially because if you're, I would imagine you can reverse engineer from algorithms, but what kind of a world is that to be a slave to? At least in my profession, the things that we never think are going to be funny suddenly end up being the recall from the show. And this one bit that you've obsessed about and you think it's going to be amazing falls flat 9 times out of 10. But I think obsessing about what they like has more to do with fandom. And I don't have fans. I have an audience. I'm very clear about that.
And you see a very clear distinction between a fan and an audience.
Yes, absolutely.
What is the difference? Will you spell it out for us?
A fan puts you first. You put the audience first. That's the difference, all right? It's very clear, right? When you come to my show, my front row is 5,000 rupees, my last row is 400 rupees, so that we can get a range. That means you got a babysitter, you spent on petrol, you didn't go see a Bollywood movie, you didn't go out for dinner, maybe you saved in the college canteen. If I suddenly come out on stage and I'm like, ye meri tanhai hai, or ye meri struggle hai, or ye dekho mera life, you'd be like, go to hell. You know, I slaved for this. I worked really, really hard. I send you home flying on a cloud when you come to my show.
And you see that as your purpose,
that is
as
my
an
purpose.
artist.
Yeah. But if you're my fan, then you want to be like, aapki tanhai, aapki struggle, aapka journey. And I don't have that equation. I have an audience. I don't have fans.
So you don't have an eye, or your team doesn't have an eye on numbers.
Only when I'm in trouble. Then we have an eye. When we're like, arey, ye viral ho gaya abhi, you know, aisa lawyer ko bulao. Then we have those conversations. But no, also, virality doesn't mean anything, especially in my profession. I cannot tell you how many comedians I have seen walk on stage fresh off the video with 30 million views or 10 million views, and an audience just like this one looks at them and they're like, hey, 5 seconds ke liye madness. Aa gaya. Chal. Now make me laugh. The expectation is very clear, because also laughter is a surprise. It's an involuntary reaction. So, you know, they're just sitting there after 5 seconds saying, doesn't matter how viral you are. Nothing means less than going viral in my profession. And the lovely thing about my profession
But that's not what most influencers would say, isn't it? Isn't to go viral, for a video to go, your work to go viral, isn't that what everybody is working very hard to do?
I think, okay, are there influencers here? Yeah? Okay. Let's, small thought experiment, all right? Raise your hands if you went viral with a video. If any of your videos have gone viral, just raise your hands, please. All right, cool. Now, keep them raised. Nah, what are you, vegans? Put some energy up, come on. All right, now, keep your hands raised if you know why your video went viral, if you know exactly why it went viral. All right, some hands have gone down. Now, keep your hands raised if you were able to repeat the process and go viral again. You know, so few. You don't have a clue. 9 times out of 10 people don't have a clue why they went viral. And then if they try and replicate that, they have, am I wrong? You have no clue how to do it again. So virality, I would imagine, even for them, it's like, arey, tukka. And even brand is like, arey, tukka. But then the 5 other brands come because of that tukka, and then you shit your pants saying, how do I do this for these 5 other brands? I don't think it means anything.
But it is the holy grail still.
Huh?
Even though it means nothing
Yeah.
to you, to most people it is the holy grail. Right?
Of course, and I'm coming from a place of privilege and a long career before
Yeah.
Instagram and influence and all of that stuff. But I would imagine even when an influencer tries to do it again, the only thing you have is authenticity. And the only thing you have is to put yourself out there. The one thing that I think comedians get to do, but it's a good rule, is never pretend like your problems don't exist and never milk your problems. Find that middle ground between them. So if people are invested in your journey as an artist, if you're going through something, put it out there. Authentically put it out there. Don't be like everything's fine when it's not. They'll smell that. But don't ever lionize yourself or milk your journey too much. Just be honest.
What did you say in your last show, Landing? You're not the victim and you're not the hero.
Not a victim, not a hero.
Am I quoting you right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just, I mean, you know, Landing as a show was about a controversial moment in my life with a video that went viral, right? And I didn't do any interviews for a year. I've yet to go on a news channel. I didn't do any social media posts about it. My job's a comic. So I waited 1 year and I wrote jokes. And the first time you heard me talk about it, it was a joke meant to make you laugh. And that's how I take my trauma and weaponize it to make your life better. That's my job. You know, it's not to make you, you know, believe I'm some sort of...
So then, by extension, if I take this forward, would I be right in saying that if you were to weigh data and analytics and, you know, social media gives you tons and tons of information, who watched what, when did it fall off, which video did better, etc., etc. When you weigh that against instinct or a gut instinct or, you know, what you think you want to do and will work, how do you weigh these two?
I mean, it's hard because, okay.
Because you don't give credence to the data?
I give credence to the data. I just don't know what to do with it. Like, okay, right now, I'm 43 years old. For some reason, because of the stand-up that I've been doing in the last 3 years, 70% of my audience is between the age of 18 and 25 years old. This is the youngest audience I've ever had. I don't know a damn thing about them. And they don't know a damn thing about me.
But you're damn lucky that you have them.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that I have them, but they're like, you know, they're like, hey,
because for marketers, they are the holy grail, right?
Right, but you know, I have to be honest. They're like, hey, Veer, you want to smoke a joint? And I'm like, no, I have acid reflux here. I'm 43. You know, I can't, I can't do this with you. My knees hurt, you know. Ghutne mein dard hai. You know, aisa, I buy more Zandu balm than I do other products. But you know, it's, so my choices are either I get some, you know, AP Dhillon haircut and wear some cool clothes and try and fit in there and I'll be called out a mile away. Or I just be like, I don't know. And I don't know about you. And you scare me. And I'm pretty sure I scare you. Now let's go. You know.
But it is a heady feeling to know that 18 to 25-year-olds are watching you and want to buy tickets to your show and keep tabs on what you're doing.
Yeah, and it also is a sense of, like, to give you an example, I'm working on a new bit. And it's, I read a piece of literature that said most men do not know that sexism and misogyny are two separate things. Right? They equate them as the same thing. And I thought this was very interesting. I started writing about it. There's a comedian called Aditi Mittal, who I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah, I know Aditi.
So I'll usually call Aditi and say, am I tone deaf? Am I right? Am I not? And she says, you have to be very careful. Because for a lot of your audience, this will be the first time somebody's explained it to them. Because of how young they are.
Yeah.
So you better get it right. So you better do some research and talk to not just me, but women of other age groups.
Yeah.
So in that sense, a sense of responsibility does creep in. You're like, okay, you know, I have to be careful if I talk about mental health. I have to be careful if I talk about suicidal thoughts. I have to be careful if I talk about a real issue because they're really young, you know. And if I didn't, it would feel like I was cheating them.
You talk about responsibility. When you think of responsibility in the context of the consumer, because the brand communication that influencers, celebrities, you know, that they do on behalf of brands, at the end of the day is reaching out to consumers. So what is the lens that you use, what your personal lens? We know ASCI's guidelines. I'm sure you spend the whole day talking about it and understanding these guidelines better. But what's your personal lens? Because this is a personal conversation.
As in, how do I evaluate whether I do this or not?
No. How do you, what is the filter you use to say that I'm being responsible to the consumers, given that you think so deeply about the work that you do? So when it comes to brand communication, of course, between you and brand, safety will get taken care of. The rules will be followed. But do you have a filter beyond these when it comes to brand communication and your responsibility to your audience?
I have 3 things that I follow. I'll try it once. So I've yet to endorse a product I haven't tried. I'm not going to say I've liked every product I've endorsed because that's bullshit. But I've tried every single product. I won't mention scientific facts that I don't know are verified. And I'll try as far as possible not to mention scientific facts. You know, so if it is this percentage sugar or, you know, etc., chances are I don't want to mention it. Because if you are lying, which you might be, I'm not telling your lie for you. Get caught on your own. So if it is keto, or it's carb-free, or it's sugar-free, or it only has this much oil, that communication is your problem. It's not my problem. I'm not doing that for you. And the third thing is, my audience is intelligent. So if you want me to be stupid, I'm not doing it. Because it's very, you know, has anybody here ever gotten an email saying, dumb it down, right? Make it a little broader, make it more accessible, etc. I think the widest, we have one of the most intelligent audiences in the world. There's no reason to dumb it down for anybody in any city, in any language. So I'm not doing that.
So what were the 3 rules again?
I'll try it once.
You'll try it once?
I will try
whatever
the product.
It is.
Whatever it is, I will try it once.
Okay.
I'll tell you a great story after this about trying it once. I'm not mentioning your scientific facts.
Okay.
You mention your own scientific facts. Don't tell me to dumb it down. I'll communicate it to my audience in the most intelligent way.
Simple, clear rules.
I know how.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now tell us the story.
So I did an ad for Lux Cozy. I'm sorry if the Lux Cozy people are here today or whatever, but this is, you know, I'd just come down to Bombay and I was in Lokhandwala. Now, I'm not saying everybody in Lokhandwala is a struggling actor.
But very high chances that they are.
At that moment in time, they certainly were. So I was in line with all these big, like, beefy, six-pack, 6'4" guys. And I kind of went in, and the casting director was, see, I'm going to leave the room, right? And there's the Lux Cozy underwear, this thing. So you take your time, you put it on however you feel comfortable, and then we'll come back in the room. We'll do the ad. Then I'll leave the room again, and you can take the underwear off and leave it here. So first I thought it was an episode of Bakra, right? Where, so I thought ki main chaddi dalunga and then Cyrus will come out and be like, ah! But then I did the ad, and through the ad, I kept getting worried ki maybe they are reusing this underwear. Because ऐसा 100 लोगों को audition करेगा तो कितना Lux Cozy लगेगा ना वहाँ पर? It's a waste of fabric. So at the end of my audition, I told the casting ladies, I'm leaving in the underwear. And so I just put my pants on and I walked out in her Lux Cozy underwear. It's really good underwear. Like, I didn't get the job, but I wore that Lux Cozy for at least like a year after that. Yeah, it's damn good underwear. It's actually cozy. So I tried the product. There you go.
You try every product.
Yeah, even this one that I didn't endorse, I tried the product. So yeah.
Okay, should we open it up to some questions? Because I can sense the questions. Yeah, there's a
Yes,
hand
ma'am.
there. Yeah. Is there a mic? But you think, till she gets the mic, do you think social media is a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me why, and tell me what the opportunities and the challenges are, because to many people today, you really only see the opportunities, you know. I mean, for Christ's sake, I'm like, I'm going to go and start a YouTube channel.
I think social media can give you the illusion that everybody loves you, and it can give you the illusion that everybody hates you. And it's really important to remember that both are illusions. And that most of the world is not on social media or really just snacks social media. 99% of us want to pay our bills, watch Big Boss and go to bed that evening. And we don't care about what's trending on Twitter.
Actually, you're underplaying it, you know, because I know the amount of time people are consuming short videos, reels, and it keeps getting thrown at you, right? And it's all cute or funny or fun. And before you know it, half an hour has gone by and another hour has gone by.
For sure.
If you're not a creator,
But
then you're just a consumer.
But if you are a creator, let's say your video got 4 million views and it's slay, like, fire, lit, whatever every comment is amazing, that doesn't mean 4 million people love you. That doesn't mean that you have 4 million fans. By the way, for comedians, it doesn't mean that 4 million people are going to buy tickets to come see you. Virality has nothing to do with people spending money. Spending actual money and giving up their time. Consequently, if, on the flip side, sorry, if you've ever been cancelled or you've ever been trolled, you can very much go down a mental rabbit hole thinking the world hates me. And I've learned extremely the hard way to turn your phone off and try and interact with real people and remember that you are loved. And remember that real love exists, because in a moment like that, you can definitely feel like there's not a person in the world that loves you, and both are not real. So that's my 2 cents on it. Yeah.
Did you get the mic?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I audible? Yeah. My name is Aditya and I have a question. So many of the stand-up comedians create laughter by using abusive language.
Yes.
So what's your take on this, and do you find this cool? Is that a part of relatability? Like, I understand that's an emotion, but is it a good influence?
Well, I think there's 2 rules to apply. Number 1, I don't decide what's cool, you decide what's cool, right? So there's nothing worse for a comedian than silence from an audience. And I think an audience will smell when a cuss word was required or not required. You know, with comedians, as you get a little bit older, you can tell ki yaar, if you're able to do the joke without cussing, you'll probably do it without cussing as you get older. Primarily because if you're able to do the joke without cussing, the audience will know if the cuss doesn't belong in there. In terms of comedians using abusive languages, I want to be clear, I have no problem with anybody using any language that they deem fit, right? But I do think whatever language you do use, you have to honor the audience's feedback to that language. You don't just get to say it and move on. It's a conversation now. And whether it's cool or not, who the hell knows? Nobody knows what's cool. Yeah?
That was a very good question.
Yeah, very good question.
Yeah, there's a hand right there. Thank you.
Hi, Veer. This is Bhakti.
Good evening.
Great fan. I mean, I don't put you before me, but I'm still a fan. I love your work. So my question is related to your profession and indirectly towards influence that you create all over India. You say you're not an influencer, but I think you're underplaying that, because we have great influence through you, through what you show, kind of a mirror to the real India. So I would like to ask does your comedy come through what actually is happening around you? I know comedy or shows are scripted, of course, you've written them. But is it like from your heart what you feel about India? Because you're very progressive in your thoughts, in your script, to fit in for many of us here in India. So what motivates you, or what is your inspiration towards your comedy and the content that you create?
I think, you know, perhaps this is my 16th year as a comic, and perhaps as you get older, you don't get funnier or you don't get better, but who you are falls onto the page a little bit more. You just access yourself a little bit more. You know, I travel 8 months a year sometimes, and the only thing I have to carry with me is a sense of country. I carry my country deeply across the world. I'm very proud to be somebody who takes an Indian accent to 29 countries a year. Not watching Indian, you know? And I'm proud to go to Perth and Adelaide and not talk to them about Perth and Adelaide, but tell them about the Andheria Mode ki Chudail on the way to Gurgaon, right? So, I think you crave what you miss and you write about what you long for. So when people ask me, why do you write about your country so much? It's because I long for it and I miss it and it's my identity. So, yeah.
Hi, Veer, this side. Khizar, this side, straight.
No, I'm good.
Yeah. So basically my question is, you said you are not an influencer, you are not a celebrity, but as a brand, Veer is able to sell so many things, I mean, in terms of ticket sales and all. So do you think, do you define yourself as a brand yourself, or how's the journey's been where, obviously as a marketer, your engagement and reach are not something that much, but there are people here who focus on engagement and reach, but not as a brand. So do you think we should more focus on that aspect?
I see, engagement and reach for me means, did you engage with laughter and did you reach the venue on time? You know, so that's how I define engagement and reach, because I don't post a lot of content online. In terms of, am I a brand? I don't know, man. I'm not even going to give you some gyan, because, see, my career has been over 3 times. It has, you know, and I'm not saying I've declared it over, like newspaper ne bola, khatam. You know, there was a HuffPost article once that said, when is Veer Das going to realize it's all over? So I don't get to claim that I'm a brand when other people are deciding.
As an aside, HuffPost is no longer.
Nah, that's no longer a brand.
Over.
You know, but, you know, it's, thank you. So no, man, I don't think of myself as a brand. I command an audience. And God has been kind where I command the largest audience I ever have. Maybe you're the brand. You know, maybe my audience is the brand. You're a particular type of a person, intelligent, young, progressive, who's willing to spend money on laughter. I guess you're the brand. I don't know if I am or not. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. I'm Winnie.
Hi.
So, Veer, we share 2 things. One, Winnie and Veer. And second, we share that I'm also 43 years. As you also said, so I'm speaking the truth. I hope you are also.
Absolutely. You are a much better 43 than I am. I will start by saying that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you one thing. You said knees में घुटने में पेन हो रहा है, थोड़ा वेट बढ़ा लो, क्योंकि मैंने 7-8 साल पहले जब आपको सुना था, आपका वेट बहुत कम था तब.
So are you saying I put on weight? What the hell is this, man?
Lot of weight.
Hey, ASCI, what is this negative reinforcement that you have called me here for, huh?
All right, I just wanted
Madam,
to...
this is protein, all right? Aisa, training for a movie and all.
I'm just trying to share the stage with you, you know, your stage.
I'm going to pretend like I'm not damaged. Sure, great.
Do you have a question?
All right, jokes apart, so my question was, there was an alternate business which you had mentioned in the start of the conversation.
Yes.
So that's related to alcohol industry, if I heard it right?
Yes, I have a beer, it's called Fuck It.
Oh, that's really nice. So there are a lot of influencers here. We all are waiting to be part of your industry.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
I guess I'll talk about it, but I launched a beer, and the beer is called Fuck It. Okay. But it's F-A-A-A-A-K-I-T. So technically it's Fuck It. But the idea behind it, and I was telling you this as well, is I felt like beer had become a very kind of alpha male macho, my IPA pita hai kind of this thing. And I wanted beer that guys like me who were more sensitive, or women, or like younger people in college could drink without getting hammered. So I was like, meet me halfway between beer and cider. So I created a beer, and the idea, it's called the happy beer. So the idea is, you had a good day, fuck it. You had a bad day, fuck it. Woke up to your bartender and just say, fuck it. You know, that's the idea.
Whatever you do, don't advertise it.
I don't advertise the beer at all. I just come to your house, privately pour it for you, and then I leave. That's the service.
I can see a lady in the blue
Hello?
at the back.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask this question. My name is Smruti. I want to know, how has the audience changed in the last 10 or 12 years that you have been doing comedy? Have you seen a change or a shift in what the audience would be wanting 10 years back vis-a-vis what is the current expectation?
Yeah, they've changed tremendously. One, they're thankfully willing to consider us as an expenditure vis-a-vis other art forms. You know, it used to be कि अच्छा पिक्चर नहीं मिला, डीजे नहीं मिला, डांस नहीं मिला, ये नहीं मिला, चलो कॉमेडी देखने चलते हैं. But now comedy can compete with all of those things, and you'll spend real money on it. You're coming in expecting to be challenged. You know, so sometimes now the protocol is set where an audience knows, अच्छा okay, half of this is going to be edgy, half of this is going to be about his family, half of it is going to be, you now know this as well. And I think you're just aware of my competition. You know, you've now seen so many comedians, you recognize bad comedy. And that's a very valuable thing. You know, for it to be like, no, I like that guy better, because it means all of us have to level up. You know, a lot of us got by on first mover advantage because, you know, the audiences hadn't watched comedy from all across the world, and now you have. So it's a very discerning crowd. It's never been a better time to be a comic, at least financially and audience-wise, you know.
I think we have time for just 2 more questions. So there's a lady in the blue over there.
With the glasses, yes,
yeah, she's been raising her hand quite a few times. Have you got the mic? Standing?
Yes. Already? Okay.
Hi, Veer.
Hello.
I'm Shreya Gautam, one of the many influencers here today. My question to you is, in your career, obviously you've seen a lot of ups as well as downs.
Yes.
Yes, there are people who praise you when you do something right, but there are trolls as well.
Yes.
As creators, and especially me, I've been a self-proclaimed activist for mental health and self-love. And I want to know, how do you deal with, I mean, yes, trolls, obviously you talk to yourself, but how do you keep yourself grounded, say for us, in our language, you know, going viral?
Yeah.
2 million ho gaye, 3 million ho gaye, to main star hu. So how do you keep yourself grounded in that situation?
At some point I had to physically align things around me to prevent myself from becoming an asshole. Forgive me for speaking honestly, but you know, I think I never judge people who have lost themselves in an early level of fame, you know, and I certainly did too. So you deserve to have 3-4 years where, you know, you have 2 cell phones and like somebody brings you a smoothie, you know, all of you wear sunglasses in airports, do
Selfies,
all of that.
selfies.
You know, do all of that stuff. But now I travel alone, so I travel without an entourage. Any time off that I have, I'm going straight to my wife because she doesn't think I'm funny at all. So, you know, it's a nice grounding experience there. I've cultivated people who tell me when it's shit. That's very important. You know, so it's very important to cultivate people around you who are not on your payroll, who will tell you when your work is bad. Because 99% of the time, people on your payroll will never tell you that your work is bad. So find 5 or 6 people who will tell you when it's shit and call them before you release the product. That's very, very important. And then I think, and this is slightly foo-foo, but be grateful. You know, remember that I think if you have done this long enough to have it and see it go away and have it and see it go away again, when it comes back, just try and wake up grateful every day and your feet will find the ground.
time for one more question, or should we?
Hi.
Oh,
Yeah,
you got the mic. Okay, that's the last question.
Make it a good one, huh? No pressure.
Okay, so I'm going to make up for the comment over there and say that you are a very courageous comedian. I run a publishing house and we talk about marketing and we talk about brands. So I wanted to ask you, what difference do you see when you are selecting a brand? Because what we've noticed is that when it's a celebrities, they kind of endorse everything and anything that comes their way.
Yeah.
Influencers are very wary of what's coming and they tend to choose what they promote and what they don't promote. What is it that you see before selecting a brand that you want to endorse?
Money. Not gonna lie, money, number one. It has to be worth my time. My audience has to be amused by it. So it has to be funny, because that is my brand as well. It's a bad, I don't know if okay. I have management and I have like corporate people around me sometimes. I have investors and everything. And sometimes I find that the more excited they are about it, the less I should do it. Do you know what I mean? Like if everybody who wears a suit and a tie is like, bro, you're amazing, eh? Fuck all, eh? I'm just saying, all right, that's the, you know, it's, so like if it doesn't speak to you creatively, chances are very non-creative people will be excited about it. So that's sometimes a red flag for me. You know, if they're like, this studio and this director and this company and their legacy, but nobody's talking about how funny it is or how much fun it'll be or how cool it is, or that's a red flag. So the more corporate it seems, I tend to go away, and I don't recommend that, you know, for everyone. It's just my personal thing.
Okay, there are many hands, but
We can,
you will have to reach him outside. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause.